Well, hello there everyone. As you've noticed from the previous disaster, part 1, this is part 2 and hopefully the end. In a sense, it's a blessing in disguise. So I wanted, when I put the engine in 3 years ago, I wanted to put in a dripless seal. But because of the stuffing box and the complications of trying to remove that stuffing box, I decided not to. But I had bought the dripless seal at the time. So now, late this afternoon, it's Thursday, Tamarix Marine have said to me that the parts are going to be ready, so we can collect them after 3 this afternoon. It's been quite a pricey affair. I won't mention how much, but I will show you the parts when we get them. So in a sense, what's going to happen is I'm replacing the stern tube. There will be a flange on the inside onto which will be the jack, the black jack will fit, which is the dripless seal. Then on the outside there will be another flange like it was before. I'll put another anode on. We are putting a brand new shaft in because the previous shaft was so badly dented in the collision that we can't use it and it's not worth straightening. And we're putting a new propeller on. So I'll show you the steps as we're going along, and it'll give you some idea of what's involved. So and then I'm going to write a letter to the harbour master, and I'm going to copy port control, because if as it seems from somebody here who'd heard that a previous commercial ship had complained and warned port control about these beams floating in the water, port control should have notified all ships that are leaving and entering any of those 3 harbours about the danger, and nobody told me anything when I requested permission to enter Duncan Dock on last Thursday afternoon. Anyway, so it's a regular occurrence apparently. I mean, they have a dry dock right next to the small craft basin here at the Royal Cape. So what happens is when they've finished working on a commercial vessel, they don't clean out the dry dock and they don't remove any loose potential floating stuff, like in this case beams. So what happens when they flood the dock, all that stuff floats into Duncan Dock, and all the beams and all that kind of stuff is a hazard to shipping. So maybe in a sense this will be a blessing in disguise. Certainly from my point of view it is, because if this had happened far out to sea, we would be in a serious situation. Anyway, yeah, so I'll keep you posted as we're going along. This is just the introduction. We'll keep you posted as we're going along, and I'll show you how everything fits back together, and with a bit of luck, by at the latest next Tuesday, maybe even sooner, we will be back in the water. It's a public holiday on Monday, so I don't think we'll be able to get back in the water then. And the guys are having their Christmas party tomorrow, so even if we finish everything tomorrow, we won't be able to get back in the water, and nobody works here on Saturday. So it looks like we won't be successful to go back in the water until next week. The noise you hear in the background is I'm just having the hull pressure cleaned again, because there's quite a bit of green slime and stuff on parts of the boat, so I may as well get it done while the boat's out in the water. Okay, cheers, we'll see you shortly. So you can see Fran is painted beautifully, and that's where the new shaft is going to come through. And on the inside of that there will be a flange or nut that will tighten. Make sure you Sikaflex it. And then this is the dripless seal. So this will fit onto a pipe down there, and this will come out. You put some grease in and squeeze it so the water comes in, but there will be no more water ingress into the boat. The stuffing box always is such that there has to be a slight drip on the stuffing box, so you have to check it regularly. But this gives you an indication before we do anything of the state of the engine. And you can see what a nice job Fran's done with painting the compartment. That's it. So before we start with the repair, you can see this is the water trap, and you can see this old pipe, this piece of old pipe here I'm going to replace. This comes from the what do you call it, the I can't think of the name now, but that prevents the diesel from coming out. The stopcock at the bottom of the tank. So from the stopcock there, it goes into here, into this, into the one side of the primary water trap, and then from the other side it goes to the secondary filter on the engine, and then into the engine. So this is a very old piece of pipe which I want to replace with this, some of this pipe that you can see that I've got here, that's lying here. Okay, so that's task number one while we're waiting for the parts. So Baba, you're on camera. Eh? Are you learning?
Yeah.
You must be learning a lot here. Eh?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting work.
Yeah.
So what does it say?
What does what say?
That's it. Anton? Thank you.
Just gonna
I.
cheers.
So we've arrived at Fran's place, and there's load shedding, so we can't get into the garage. Fran is in a happy frame of mind. He's got some flowers, and you can look at all this. There it is, new propeller, new shaft. That's the stern tube. See, there's some of the old pieces, odds and ends in the box there that we're going to use, and the other shafts in the back, on the back seat. Yeah, mine doesn't work, so just doing a little bit of a dry run here. You can see where put the shaft in, and we can see where the coupling is. So that whole thing has to be now taken out again and flexed in, so we can do the rest. So that's going to be the next stage. And my two intrepid crew members here are having a cup of tea in true English fashion. Wouldn't you say so, Skipper?
I would say that this is a major part of the work being done.
Exactly, yeah. And would you agree with that, Skipper?
I think so. You should come and have your tea.
I should have my tea, yeah. Okay. What do you call it? What's it? Disaster in Duncan Dock Part 1. This is now Disaster in Duncan Dock Part 2.
On the hard disaster?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well that's cured.
Okay, so just tell us what you've been doing, Michael.
Well, to uninstall the whole shaft, we had to chop away a hell of a lot of the wood over here and the fiberglass.
Yeah.
And so we've now just built up with an epoxy filler to seal the wood and harden it and create a nice surface to fit the little bronze
this is the
stern tube on.
epoxy 2-to-1.
So it's still a little bit warm, but it's hard. It's touch dry. Okay. So you should be able to get that shaft through there. And what I'd like to do before we do too much is just get that grinder on there and just fare that nice and smooth and get rid of that.
Might chisel that.
And I'll sand it down. Okay. That doesn't have to be removed unless it's in the way of something. You know, if your blackjack or something's in the way, then we just fare it down.
Yeah, no, it's not in
but
the way.
This is dry and hard and good enough to work with now.
Okay.
So, whoops, I'm feeling a little bit of some moisture in there, but that's fine. That won't be a problem.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we'll put.
Right. So we've got a finger. We've got 10 millimeter of gap over there, which I don't think is great, and it's butting up at the bottom. So what I'm going to start doing is faring away with the grinder some of that epoxy so that we can bring that closer. The other alternative is to build out again, which is a wet epoxy process. So let me see. You can see it's making contact on this little wall. So so there, we've got a big bump or two. So I'm going to try and grind with the angle grinder so that we can stick this back in and it actually fits as flush as possible over there.
Okay.
So that we don't have to worry.
Cool.
You know, you don't want to use that much of seeker as a water seal. Water's going to piss through there.
Yeah.
Because with these coach bolts, we're not going to get compression. The compression is going to come through fastening these two things together.
Flange outside and
The outside and inside one.
Yeah.
So we want to get that surface as flat as possible, and then build up like a gasket with Sika.
Should we not epoxy the pipe in?
You
If
can,
we
but
put
that
lots of-
epoxy is not a waterproof seal. It's too
Okay.
hard and rigid. So
Okay.
any hairline crack in it
Okay, then it would
will
okay,
leak.
Okay.
So we want to get it as close as we can, and then a sealant with
Sika.
Sika,
Yeah.
a 3 or 4 mil.
Yeah.
And once that Sika is then set, that's when you apply torque
Yeah.
to
Okay.
really close it up.
Okay.
That's normally the procedure.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm gonna.
That looks. Yeah.
This looks nice, but I'm going to do it a little bit more.
Okay.
I'm going slightly at an angle to work away from the.
So you can see what we've done. This is the cutlass bearing on the outside. Drilled 2 holes for the coach roof bolts, and this will come. Propeller is going to go on here, and there's a movement. There's a propeller, and this is an anode on here, but we're going to put another anode on here once we've adjusted it in. So Michael, I've feel this a little bit.
Few analogies that spring to mind. What?
Just
Is it
no, keep going. Yeah, it's coming. It's quite a
quite a couple?
yeah. Just keep going. That's it. There it is. See, so if you can see,
Yeah, so
that's
you
it,
can.
perfect.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to put Sikaflex in here,
Yeah.
or on the outside there,
Yeah.
on that one.
Both outside and inside.
But you don't want any Sikaflex going in there.
into
That's the
there.
thing.
Yeah.
So and then lots of Sikaflex here,
Yeah.
and in there, and there, and there, and there, and then the coach bolts in.
Yeah.
I was going to say his worst half.
Sidekick, the one.
Sidekick to wonder. It's just come to watch. You come to learn to wonder. Okay. Okay, Michael.
Okay, so we've fitted this cutlass bearing and this little shaft fitting on the end here, jammed it up as much as we could with some Sikaflex, and lightly tightened it, sort of hand tight. And once the Sika set after 24 hours in the morning, we'll torque it down with the big bobby arm, and and hopefully that's it. Hopefully that's tight as
a duck's arse.
proverbial duck's arse. I'd wait
That's
until you said it, but so we've got 2 duck's arses here.
So
one
you
on the
know,
inside,
you
one
know
on
when
the
they
outside.
say it's tight as a duck's arse, you know what they mean. You know why it's as tight? Because a duck's arse has got to be watertight, because he's sitting in the water all the time. So there must be no water coming in.
No
You know?
leaks.
Yeah. No leaks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. So yeah, that's we'll let it rest. So So, end of the first day of installing, and we have put the stern tube in, glued it in, tightened all the flanges, got everything fitting perfectly, etc. So tomorrow morning I'll be able to connect up. So let me just show you on the inside. There you are, and you can see that's the inside. So on there will be, this is the tripler seal. This is going to fit on there, and we've done away with the old stuffing box, so there should be no more leakage in any case. With the old stuffing box they always drip once a minute, they're supposed to. So that I'm going to connect up tomorrow morning, but I'm letting all the glue and the epoxy and everything there harden overnight. And yeah, so I'm quite pleased. It's been a very successful day, and although we'll only be able to get back in the water on, what is it, on Tuesday, because tomorrow they're not working. Next day is Sunday, Monday is a public holiday here, so Tuesday morning, but hopefully by then everything will be sorted, and yeah, she'll be back in the water. Cheers. So with a bit of luck that's going to happen, and that will be the end of Disaster Strikes Part 2, and hopefully that's it for 2019. It's been a really difficult year for me on a personal level, as well as with the boat, as you know, but I don't like taking any chances with the boat. I have students and I take safety quite seriously, so it's important that you don't have any leaks on the boat, that your propeller, your shaft, your stuffing box or dripper seal, all that kind of stuff must be perfect. So that's what we've set out to do. So tomorrow I'll show you the rest of the installation. Hope you've enjoyed it so far, and see you tomorrow. Cheers. So this is just to show you. I've put a bit of grease on the shaft like that. You can see a bit of grease all the way along. So the anode will go here, and the propeller will go on here, which we'll do later on. So I'll just put it in place, so now I can go inside and sort out the next step. Here you can see the propeller with a bit of grease on the inside, and yeah. So it's important that the key, there's a key here. You can see the keys here. There's the key. That's got to be greased as well. So anyway, I'll worry about that once we connect it on the inside. Here you can see, shows you shaft coming through. Okay, so this will slide over there. I won't attach it yet, and then I'm going to put the coupling. The coupling is going to go on with the rubbers. These rubbers go on the end of these, going inside this coupling, and that coupling then gets bolted onto here, to this end of the CV joint, the universal joint, and the other end goes onto the gearbox. So you'll see how it all fits together. So this is just a dry fit. You can see there's the dripper seal, still going to be clamped on. This is the coupling. I'm going to just undo the coupling a little bit so I can fit these rubbers on, and then I'll tighten it. So Fran is outside holding the shaft with a bobby-arm spanner to prevent it from turning. Are we ready? show you what we've done. I'm still going to flatten this. That flange is going to be knocked flat there, so this propeller doesn't unwind itself and go missing, which happens to some people. It's also a bit difficult to get there. So this anode is going to come off, and I'm going to put some Loctite on it and tighten it with a... But that gives you an idea. So, and then we'll see. I still have to put an anode on the shaft. We'll go here and then we'll adjust once we know where the rest of the stuff goes. But we're there. Getting there. We're putting some Loctite on the nut. You want to hold the camera just on that side so we can see. That's it. So there we are. One anode here. We put this little, come a bit closer, we put that there so that prop can't disappear anywhere. And we're going to put another anode here. So I can just slide this. I'm not sure yet where that it's going to go because we haven't connected the coupling to the universal joint inside, so we'll have to adjust that distance. Okay, that's. Tell us what you've been learning and what you've been up to.
I think you did a great job installing the prop.
You're happy with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to do now?
So far. So now I'm going to prevent the shaft from turning while you fix inside parts.
The coupling, while I tension the coupling on the inside.
Right.
Okay. Okay, you happy with everything?
Okay, yeah.
Good. Be safe on the boat on Tuesday?
Hope so.
Good.
Okay, well, what have we done?
Take the camera with you if you want to.
We've just fitted the blackjack boot down on the bottom over there. Greased it up, prepared it for being dropped in the water. Hopefully it's watertight, and then connected the two ends of the shaft over here. Greased it up, the universal joint, and it's all ready to go. Fitted the fuel filter back into place, and I think we're good to go.
Yeah, let's hope so. We'll see.
Sorry, I don't know about where the camera was pointing.
Yeah, that's fine. Time to put the other anode on. And what I'm doing now, I'm just mixing some epoxy, and this epoxy will go in the nuts so that the nuts can't fall out. So there's no way that this anode can fall off accidentally when it's spinning. Otherwise your new prop, your new shaft, everything gets compromised through the electrolysis. So an epoxy, one of the epoxies I use, maybe E372. It's a two-part, 2-to-1, works like a charm. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some red anti-foul, and I'm going to just paint some of these areas. So if you have a look, you can see all the white areas I'm going to paint. You can see there's the epoxy, all those holes are completely epoxy in. So there's no way that shaft will fall out. Okay, so now I'm going to paint all the white areas. This is the corner where the log also hit, you can see here. And there's a little spot there where it hit as well on the rudder, you can see there. I'm just going to touch that spot up, and any other little spots around that need painting. So I just want to show you, we've put this middle section in, painted it, and put the strainer back on, touched up down there, you can see all around, so it's looking quite neat and clean, And hopefully this is going to be dripless, so no more water will be coming in. And yeah, that's it. So engine compartment looks good.
So we've been painting the heads. This is the undercoat that's just been put on, and hopefully it will all look clean and beautiful when we put the final paint on tomorrow. Here's Ralph, he's been painting outside,
Yeah.
anti-foul.
And Fran's been painting inside, white, what's that paint called?
Universal
Universal
undercoat.
undercoat, yeah. Okay. So it's enough today.